Alright, boys, I'm gonna be completely fucking honest. I'm out of ideas for the intro. This is what I got.
Hey, be a squid and subscribe to my mediocrity.
What is popping, my boys? Today, we are doing some more BDO bullshit, but this time, instead of shitting on it, I figured I'd talk about some things that I actually enjoy about this fucking game. You fucking see that shit, bro? You see that condensation, my guy? Like, I'm fucking blind for you guys. Now, as I said, we're gonna be talking about some things that I enjoy about BDO. I always kind of shit on this game, and I genuinely do enjoy it to a certain degree, but there's a lot of things that I fucking just, I just want to die all the time, but there are also some things that keep me grounded and keep coming back, so I figured I'd highlight some of the things that may or may not attract some new players. First thing I thoroughly enjoy is the combat. This is probably the #1 thing that keeps me coming back to this shitty ass fucking game. Oh yeah, and get used to that. I'm gonna be fucking throwing backhand shots left and right. This video is gonna be ass backwards all day, so just deal with it. Now the combat is rather interesting. It's one of those games where you essentially just run around and fucking smack the shit out of everything, and for the most part, it's kind of one-shotting majority of everything, especially once you're geared, but it's the impact and the weight behind your abilities that carry at least majority of the reason I play this game. I'm a huge sucker for sound design as well as just weight in general when it comes to swinging a weapon or just the raw impact and how it feels in your hands. And when it becomes a bit more intuitive and realistic, that's when I get more invested into the game. Recently, I've been playing a lot of The Guardian on PC, and I gotta be completely honest with you, that bitch bangs so fucking hard. Like, I'm afraid to even witness the true terror that this is gonna have on console. I'm waiting patiently, but good lord, that lady, she slaps, bro. I'm just saying, she's gonna whack a bitch in the face, and I'm spending $100 and re-rolling all my Tet weapons on her. And it's not even necessarily just the Guardians either. You also have like the Zerker, the Warrior, the Valkyrie. These are all classes that have really heavy hitting movesets, and they just overall sound and feel fantastic in just your hands. And the fact of the matter is, you can't deny that they've done a phenomenal job at least showcasing and making you feel like a badass when it comes to playing this shitty ass game. The second thing I enjoy is the community, and this is probably as backhand as it gets, but there are people that suck in most MMORPG chats and games. You can't really get away from that, and I know I've uploaded a couple videos talking about some of these shitty people, and I mean, you know, that's just content for content, right? But I'm not gonna let these two or a couple individuals define an entire community, because that'd just be absurd. So while it does have its toxic nonsense people that like to fuck around and just basically ruin other people's days, there are a handful of people, not even a handful, probably I'd say about 60 to 70% of the BDO community on Xbox. Though it may seem toxic through some of my videos, I would say that it's pretty fun and at least hilarious to watch chat majority of the time. I've met a lot of helpful and interesting people over just the years of playing on PC and console, and I can't really sit here and pretend like it's just a toxic community, because it's really not. There's a lot of helpful people in chat, especially when they ask a question. You'll get the occasional person like myself that's just like, yo bro, Google exists for a fucking reason. I'm not Google in chat, so just what the fuck. But that's me being an asshole, because, you know, what else am I gonna do? Dude, I swear to God, every like 5 minutes, I feel like this bandana just gets higher and higher over my fucking eyes. One of these days, I'm just gonna do a whole video like fucking this, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. You're just gonna have to accept the fact that this is the future. So while I will say the community does have its bad batches of people, for the most part, I'd say it's pretty helpful as well as pretty welcoming too. Not to mention, you have a lot of funny people that are just entertaining in the chat. So if you're life skilling, grinding, and whatnot, this just makes it a little bit more entertaining, especially if you're not watching anything or if you're not doing much. You can just take a look at chat and have a good old fucking laugh, because there's always some dumb shit going on in there that'll make you smile. And speaking of life skilling, this is something I actually thoroughly enjoy, probably more than I should, and more than I ever thought I ever fucking would. See, let me break this down for you boys, all right? Life skilling is just it's a fucking vibe, bro. It is a straight up vibe, all right? Let me break this down, all right? You're over at Sawson's, you're over at Manshams, you're over wherever. Boom, you get your cheeks clapped. You can't go to your grind spot. It's over. You just gotta let it go. You got like 8 decks on you because you fucking suck, I guess. I don't know. You have a million people coming for your neck because that's just the way of life. So you're like, fuck it, I'm not gonna grind anymore. Guess what, bitch? I can still make money by going picking some damn flowers. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing, because I'm a level 49 shy. Bitch. That may or may not be a little too personal, but that's besides the point. This is an insanely fucking good thing in my personal opinion, considering that open world PvP is a thing, and people tend to be a bit aggressive, and way more aggressive than I would even really like to admit, but that's besides the point. it's the main factor here is if you can't grind, whether it be going to like a hotspot for grinding for crescents or, you know, narc earrings, stuff like that, the big money spots, you know what I mean? If you can't grind for those, well, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna have to life skill because you can't grind, so you have at least a secondary option. Do I think that's a good system? Fuck no, but I do think life skilling is a vibe, and it's a nice chill pastime that allows me to relax and calm down from all the heavy shit that goes on during the day, especially when it comes at peak hours and everyone's fighting for everything. So, you know, life skilling helps. It may not be the most intuitive thing in the planet, but I gotta be completely honest with you, the fact that it exists at least gives you secondary options to make some money, and as long as you know what you're doing, you know how to actually make money. And sometimes, and I think even in my case right now, currently, I make way more money off of life skills than I do going out and farming, so I'm just saying, life skills are kind of a banger. I forgot what number I'm on, but the next thing that I thoroughly enjoy is shared armor / gear, which I just mean literally that. So Black Desert Online has this thing where if you get an armor set on a certain character, you can just pass that bitch on over to the next character and boom, you're fucking geared and good to go. This makes the grind a bit more, I guess impressive, or not necessarily impressive, but I guess I should say like, it makes sense that the grind is so hard, because if you grind and you have to do it again on a secondary character and you just, you know, you keep doing it on each character, that would be so tedious and absurd that it would just be pointless. But the fact of the matter is, the gear, at least your armor sets, and even sometimes the weapons, minus awakening weapons and stuff, because those are proportional to each class, but some of the main weapons, like let's take the ninja and kunoichi, they both use short swords, and I think somebody else here, I think Gamer uses short sword. I don't know who uses the other short sword, but the point being is that there are classes that share certain weapons, so it's reusable on different sets of classes, and not to mention the armor can be worn by anybody. So just to put this whole thing into perspective, if you get like a full Tet armor set that you really enjoy and it's all boss gear like Dimtree, Muskin, fucking Beg's gloves, goddamn Griffin's helmet, you get all that stuff at Tet, you can just pass that on to another character and just be fully armored out and ready to go whenever you feel like it, and you don't even got to worry about gearing and equipping. There are classes that do benefit from different stats, but I mean overall the armor is still usable and viable per each class, so it doesn't really matter. You don't have to grind as hard the second time around. Obviously the awakening weapons and stuff like that still have to be a factor that you work towards, but I mean getting 1 billion versus having to get 9 billion, very different factor, and I think it's well worth it to at least invest the time into at least getting one armor set that is super decked out, so that way you don't have to worry about it for the next class. This just kind of alleviates the future and end game content, so that way you don't feel like you're constantly grinding. Once you get to the top, you kind of just get there and sit there and wait for new content. It may seem like that's a bad thing, but whenever the game is based around PvP and open world, you know, guild, node wars and stuff like that, this is super important in getting your classes involved in that sort of situation. Whenever you just want to, boom, I want a warrior ready to go, you make one, hit level 56 in a day, get them geared, boom, you're ready, and you just do it. And while we're on the subject of open PvP, the fifth and final thing I thoroughly enjoy is open world PvP, despite some people probably arguing that point that I don't. There are things that I don't like about it in the way it's done, but the concept and the idea of open world PvP is not bad. Now, before anybody gets all fucking pissy and shit, let me just explain why I hate Black Desert's way of doing open world PvP first, before I go into all the things that I like about it. Now, the reason BDO's open world PvP system doesn't necessarily work is because it's open world and it's that to the max. You can PvP just about any damn where, and that sucks because it takes an immense amount of time to grind and get to the top where you can actually get gear that you want. Not to mention drop rates are extremely low, and to even further fucking wounding the situation, you have to deal with players that are also way geared than you, and there is no like anything really to combat them from fighting you. If they want to go red, they're just gonna go red and kill you and get out of the spot because they don't give a shit. They can grind it back really easy. Like, to just put things into perspective, if you hit level 50 and you're over in Catfish, if I feel like being a dick and just wanted to go over to Catfish, I could just go over there and kill the shit out of you, and you can't fucking do anything about it because I'm like 530 gear score and you're like 2. So fuck are you gonna do to me? I'm gonna get, you're gonna karma bomb me? Cool, I don't give a shit. I'll just fucking go down to 0 karma and then just not give a fuck. I'll live a red player life. I don't give a fuck. Obviously this is an exaggeration and a situation, but this is why it doesn't work necessarily too well, because there's not enough punishment to deter a player from doing so, which this in turn makes new players incredibly just susceptible to quitting the game early and not being able to get and compete on the same level as a geared player. Like a person that is like, let's say 400 or like 350 to 400 gear score, you cannot compete with me under any circumstances. You just can't. You legitimately can't. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, gear score is gear score, and that's a huge thing in BDO. Skill level does play a part, and possibly at like let's say like 450 or something. A 450 could beat me if they're extremely skilled and they know what they're doing, but at the same time, I still have a huge advantage with that like 60 to 70 gear score I have on them. So trying to fight me is just a huge uphill battle, and that's retarded in my personal opinion. Every player should be on the same level playing field whenever you are doing open world PvP. This just seems ridiculous. This is why I feel like something should be in place where players can just have a safe haven and just do what they want to do. I like the idea of Arsha because Arsha makes sense to a degree where this is full PvP. If you want the best drops, everything, you go there. But every other server should probably be just regular PvE stuff because, I mean, how else are new players going to get geared without getting shit on a regular basis, or at least even at the very least level up? Because aside from gearing, you also have to worry about skill points, which that involves you grinding mobs at like Polly's Forest, Sawzin, stuff like that, just so that way you can actually get combat points or skill points, so you can get your better skills at least to some degree, so that way you can even fight further. So there's a lot of aspects where you have to legitimately grind hardcore, whether it be for money, skill points, etc. You have to fight, and whenever you can't fight anybody else and they feel like just pushing you out of the rotation, you can't do anything about it. You just have to move on and just go and swap servers and pray to God nobody else is there. You can obviously join guilds and choose to be social and try and get people to help you out, but sometimes that's not an option, and also sometimes people just prefer to play alone. And you know, being a lone player in a game that's basically all about open world PvP, it seems really hard, especially whenever you go up against a guild that literally gets butthurt over the dumbest shit. Me and my guild, we get decked on a regular basis because we clap people's cheeks and they just get mad and they send the entire guild at us in Zerga. So they do it all the time. It's great. But this adds into another list of problems where like guilds and Zerging becomes a thing where, let's say for example, I push somebody out of a Mansham's rotation, then somebody cries, gets butthurt, calls the whole guild. Next thing I know, there's 18 people at fucking Mansham's just fighting me, and I'm like, okay, this is absurd. Just seems kind of dumb. I beat the shit out of this guy. I won the rotation, and I beat him fair and square, 1v1, whole 9 yards, and he gets to call his whole guild and just destroy me because I'm a solo player essentially, and I only have like maybe 3 to 5 other people that I could call in, and they have like 20. And I mean, like, even for like 530s and stuff, we're not winning that, so it is what it is. It seems really dumb. Now, with that extremely long-winded explanation, let me explain why I enjoy open world PvP. Open world PvP is possibly one of the hardest flexes you can fucking do in any video game. Being able to just roll up and be like, get the fuck out, and then you have to just accept that. You have to accept that. No matter if you call my guild, you yourself, you're insignificant. You're not better than me. You died. You died to me. I am better than you. That is a fact. And this goes for anybody that's killed me. Like, that's straight up. If you kill me and I can't fight you and I move on the rotation, you have clapped my cheeks. You have bested me. I bow to you, sir. It is what it is. It's a part of the game. It's people with bad attitudes and people that have just horrible mentalities that they just have to feel like they're significant to some degree that ruin the aspect of open world PvP. But when it comes to just actual trash talking or just in-game, you know, banter and whatnot, if I beat you, I'm better than you. That's it. That's it. You can come back multiple times, but if I keep beating you, I am better than you. Time for you to move on. Not to mention the idea of fighting over territory and just kind of moving in on certain areas and whatnot. The idea of it is just cool. Like, you're that badass that you can hold an entire region by yourself to a certain degree. This is why I admire guilds like Sacrament, Plague, Arsha, and stuff like that, because these guys are doing this shit on a regular basis and they're just laying pipe down on the regular. And it's like, dude, that's fucking sick. Like, say what you want about personality and whatnot, but when it comes to the game and mechanics and how they play, they don't fuck around. And outside of just having fun in terms of just open world PvP, just the concept of just holding a territory is really cool. But as I said, it's only as cool as far as it goes. It 9 times out of 10 gets ruined by a lot of these people that just have small PPs and just get real upset whenever they can't 1v1 somebody. So it is what it is. I think open world PvP can be done and is super fun when it is done right, but BDO's version is not necessarily the greatest. I will say that it's pretty decent, but it could be better through better implementations, especially when it comes to new players. Anyway, this video was extremely long and I apologize for that, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it here and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.